Welcome back to the channel, it's Andy. We're back with FM23 and IFK Goteborg. Season 2 starts today and we have our first league game of the new season, and our first opponents, big rivals, were away against Malmo, a really tough start to our league season. Of course, we finished up season 1 last week. We just missed out on that league title with Djurgården winning the league. We led for so long, but unfortunately just slipped up in those last few games and finished in second place. So we will have some European football a bit further down the line. But season 2 starts today. We've got a few changes to the squad. I'll introduce you to our new signings, and then we will take on Malmo in our first game of the new season. And as always, if you're enjoying the series, drop a like on the video, leave comments, subscribe if you haven't, or if you're new, turn notifications on. Check out the second channel down below. Thank you for the support in season 1. If you've been watching, if you've watched any videos at all, thank you for that. Let's jump into the brand new season. So to remind you how we ended the season, we drew 0-0 with Mjällby last episode, and then we took on IFK and won 3-2 away from home. A good end to the season with that win. But just poor performances in those last few games. We only won like 3 of our last 9 or 10 games. Wasn't really good enough. And we ended up finishing in second place, 4 points behind Djurgården and a point ahead of Malmo. With us and Malmo going into the Europa Conference League. This season we are tipped by the media for a 5th place finish. We were 6th last season, so that's at least increased. In other news, an election process in November saw us get a new chairperson. Erik Sjöstedt has taken over. Hasn't really changed too much. They haven't exactly pumped money into the club, but they do want us to get a top half finish. They don't want us signing the old players, and if they are going to be old players, not going to be signed on for too long. So yeah, not a lot in terms of objectives, no real style of football they want us to play. We can just do what we want. And also nothing about like signing youngsters for the first team. We don't actually have anything like that to do. Of course, we will try and do that. Before the elections, the previous chairman actually had philosophies for us to play a high tempo pressing style. So they were looking for like a gegenpress. Not something we've really done with the team in the tactic, but they're no longer with the club now because of the election of the new chairperson. On to transfer news and a couple of notable players leaving at the end of their contracts. Oscar Wendt, the left back, at 38 years old, has left the club. Been at Göteborg for 3 years. Didn't get a great deal of game time, especially with Kanate coming in as well. 38 years old. No real need to keep him on another contract, so he's a free agent. And Sebastian Eriksson, 35 years old, the midfielder, has also left the club. Been at Göteborg for almost a decade, save for a small spell at Genoa. Played 18 games last season, wasn't amazing, and he's also left the club. Also, we had Ricardo Quaresma, who we signed last season on a free transfer. He did play enough games for us to actually get a contract extension, but he instead decided to retire from football at the age of 40. He did get a goal in his first appearance for us. We can't actually see his stats, unfortunately, but he did get a goal in a cup game, I think it was, because he's showing 0 goals up there for us. 24 games played, but Quaresma has retired. And also, Marcus Berg, our top scorer last season with 23 league goals, and actually he's going to be retiring at the end of this season. So that was a bit of a surprise. He's 37 years old, so he is on the old side, but he still looks like he could do a job, but he's decided he wants to retire at the peak of his career, which, you know, I guess you could say he is at 37 years old, still doing very, very well, but he wants to, I guess, retire before he declines. So that has kind of meant that, you know, the priority for the transfer window really is replacing him, because if we lose him and we don't get a player in that can score goals, that is going to hurt us and probably see us do worse than we did last season. Philip Hambrouch has left the club and joined IK Sirius. We got £100,000 for him. And other players were sent out on loan as well. Linus Karlstrand, who only scored 1 goal for us while he was with us, has gone on loan to Degerfors. And you can see Stefansson's gone on loan, Melvin Berg, Gassem, Salau, who's come back from loan and gone out again. So those guys have all gone on loan. We have made 7 signings in total. We'll go through them based on value. So free transfers first of all. This is Almar Grindhaug, who's an 18-year-old Norwegian midfielder. Very good passing and first touch for someone who's just 18 years old. Good decision making as well. So looks like a solid player that hopefully will progress into something good. And once he becomes of age, once he turns 21, he should be homegrown as well. He's a free transfer. He's come from Haugesund. Andrei Kulikov has also joined on a free transfer. He's the player that I'm looking to replace Marcus Berg. He's 24 years old. He's from the Ukraine. He can play as a poacher or as an advanced forward. Finishing at 15 is good. Physically, he's okay. He's not especially quick, but he's fine. He's good off the ball. Decision making's good. So I'm hoping that this player can, do the job for us. He was released by Shakhtar Donetsk because we brought him in on a pre-contract pretty much and spent no money on him. He is earning £4,200 a week though, so it was a lot of money to give him, and also it was a big signing on fee. I think the signing on fee was almost £100,000, but given that we were getting him for nothing and he could be worth £1 million, I thought, you know what, it's a big signing on fee, but I think it's worth it because I think he could be a very good player. We have managed to get some loan players in. We had just the one loan last season, and that was Iataren on loan from Juventus, who got a couple of goals for us. We have got a few more this season. This is Jakub Ondrejka, Swedish, and 21 years old. He's on loan from Inter Milan, not paying any wages for him. He can play on either the left or the right wing. He's pretty quick, really good carrier of the ball, good first touch, mentally not too bad. So he has joined us. He's just signed for Inter Milan quite recently. He only played a couple of games and he's joined us on loan. I think that's a good loan signing because I'm hoping he can play well and do well. Jorge Morelos has joined on loan from FC Porto just to give us a little bit of cover up front. He's a centre forward. He's not too bad, you know, 12s and 13s across the block. He's good off the ball. And again, he's more of an advanced forward. He's been at Porto since he came through. 8 goals for the B team last season. And in midfield, Emilian Metu has joined on a season-long loan from Bayern. Again, not paying any wages for the Austrian. He's 20 years old. Physically, not too bad. Good strength. Fairly brave. Aggression's 13. Work rate's 14. Again, just an option that's not costing us any money. Just to try and fill out the squad with capable players, I think. And then 2 players that we have actually paid money for. First of all, David Seger. He's homegrown. He's Swedish. He's 24 years old. He has joined us from Örebro. £110,000 is the fee. And he's a playmaker, you know, a bit more creative than some of the midfielders that we've seen. And again, he looks okay. 12s and 13s across the board. He's got a year contract or year and a half contract pretty much. So yeah, just another option in that midfield, and he's homegrown as well. So that was the idea there. And then we spent a whopping £225,000 on Fredrik Nissen here. He's 19 years old, not long turned 19 actually, 28th of March. He's a centre back. And yeah, it's a lot of money, but he's got big potential. He's only 19. Physically, he's good. Mentally, he's not too bad. And technically as well, 13, 12, 11. And he's only 19. He's only going to improve. It's a lot of money. We've signed him from Bromma Procana, 225k. It's a lot of money, but I mean, the potential's huge. So hopefully he can turn into a really good defender for us. And hopefully he'll be here for years to come. He has got a 1.8 million release clause, but hopefully we can just sign him on a new contract and get rid of that sort of as soon as we can, really. That is all the signings. I can't imagine there'll be any more. We do have a very big squad, as you can see, but there's no squad limits in the Swedish leagues. Of course, in the matchday squad, you do have to have 9 homegrown players. And we do still have plenty of money in the transfer budget as well. We've got 325k in the transfer budget. We've got a wage budget. The scouting budget, what we did, because we can now scout the whole of Europe. We had a transfer budget at the start of the season of about £1 million. We moved about 200,000 of that into the scouting budget, so that allowed us to scout the whole of Europe. And now hopefully we can start getting in those sort of young wonder kids. We have got some players that are going to be joining us in the winter, I believe. Yeah, oh, well, not even in the winter, in July. Muniz Seka and Agbenifo here, 2 teenagers that are going to join us in July, and I'll show you more about them once they actually join us. So we're trying to lay in the groundworks to start bringing in those like sort of good young players that after a few years will be homegrown, because that's the idea. You know, these players that are homegrown Swedish, you know, over the next few years they're going to be sort of, you know, taken out of the club once they, you know, don't become good enough, and it becomes harder and harder and harder to find homegrown Swedish players that are good enough to play for your team. So the idea is get those players young, get them homegrown, and then they'll be good enough to play in your side, and they'll be homegrown. So that's kind of the idea with a save like this, especially with the rules on the homegrown players. One player I forgot to show you here because he was on the previous season's transfer screen. Marco Olivieri has joined us. He's a forward from Italy. He's 24, physically not too bad. Yeah, he's okay. 13 finishings, not too bad. Mentals are okay. It's a free transfer from Juventus of all places. He was on loan at Perugia for a couple of seasons as well. So he's joined the club as well. We've got another player there. And he has scored some goals for us in the Cup. We are unfortunately out of the Swedish Cup already, but we did get through our group. We defeated Uruguay 3-2. They just will not go away in this one. Olivieri opened the scoring. They equalised before the hour. We were back in front through Abdullahi. Abraham then scored again for them to make it 2-2. And then Bungsbo put in a set piece in the 81st minute to make it a 3-2 victory for us in our first game in the Cup. Then we defeated Landskrona 2-0, Olivieri and Markovic on the score sheet in this one. And then we dominated Degerfors, who got relegated from the Swedish league. Berg with 2 goals and Olivieri with a goal as well. Then we came up against Malmo in the quarterfinals at home. We lost 2-1 on extra time. 3 disallowed goals in this one was ridiculous. We just, I don't know, could not win it. They led inside 4 minutes. Kulikov scored on 51 minutes. But then Nanasi with the goal after 107 minutes in extra time to win it for Malmo. So that has put us out of the Swedish Cup, unfortunately, at the quarterfinal stages. But that's not a bad showing for us. Hopefully we can win it down the line. But, you know, we're going to try and focus on this league, get one step further this season and win the Swedish league after coming so close last season. Without further ado, let's jump into the first game of the league season. We're away against Malmo, who have recently knocked us out of the Cup. I'm going to do a quick pick and see what it gives us. A Kulikov-Berg partnership. Berg's playing a bit deeper as a deep line forward now. He was an advanced forward, so that's how he's going to be playing. On Draker, we're going to play inverted winger attack. Has got Peña and Loza on the right-hand side, which I'm fine with. Tronsen and Hagen in midfield. I probably wouldn't go Tronsen. I'll go Carlen. Kanate, Bangsbo, Nissen and Olsen, the back four. And Pontus Dahlberg keeps his place in goal. As you can see, the tactic hasn't really changed that much. The team shape hasn't changed because it's, you know, it worked well last season. You know, we ended really badly, but other than that, it was a good year. We finished in second place, and that's really good. So, first game of season 2. Let's see how we do in this first game. It's a tough one, and they beat us in our own ground in the cup, but this one might be different. We faced them early last season, and I think we beat them like 3-0. So hopefully the same thing will happen here, but we'll see. Elias Hagen plays the ball forward to Kulikov. Here's Peña Loza. 4 minutes into the game here, we might have a potential chance. The shot is on target. Not a great first half, just the one shot on target for us, but both sides with a decent chance, it seems. Clear-cut chance for each side. I think this first game of the season, let's just try and avoid defeat. It's a good side, Malmo, and we did beat them by a point last season. But this one's not going too well. We've only had one shot on target to their 7, so that hasn't been especially good. 62 minutes in, we're going to make some changes because this front 4 just hasn't really done anything yet. Kanate hasn't done well either. So let's make some changes. Drake is going to come off. Carnail is going to come on. And we're going to bring on Markovic as the false 9 in place of Marcus Berg. If he's retiring, I don't want to limit his minutes this season, but I definitely... you know, if he's not going to be here next season, I want to focus on the players that are hopefully going to be replacing him. We're into the last 10 minutes here, and there's been no highlights in this second half. This has been a very, very poor game. But there's a possible chance here. Ceesay's on the ball for Malmo, but it's well defended by Carnell. Ceesay's on the ball again here. Peña. Nanazi, who scored the winning goal in the cup game. And Ali's through and Ali scores. It's been a really, really poor game. But Malmo, with 4 minutes from time, look like they might get the win here. I'm going to make changes though. Elias Hagen's going to come off for Alamari. Kulikov's had a bad game today, so Olivieri is going to replace him. And Peñalos is going to come off for Mireles. And we're going to go double advance forwards. Put Amari on attack, put Carlen, Carolero, and try and save a point in the last few minutes here. But not an especially good game. Just the one highlight in the first half, and this has been the only highlight of the second half either. And the chance pays off for Malmo. I mean, they've had 12 shots on target, and Dahlberg has made a lot of saves today, but unfortunately, the first game of the season ends in a loss. Not the great start to the season. We weren't especially good. They were sort of solid throughout the game, Malmo. 14 shots on target. And we didn't see many of them. We had 2 clear-cut chances, 2 half chances. We had a chance and a half chance. We never really looked like scoring. And, well, they did. So, unfortunate. Not a great performance there. And against our rivals, the fans aren't going to like it. I really hope that our poor form at the end of the last season does not carry through to this season. But we will see. It was a difficult game to start things off, away against one of the best sides in the country. So, you know, not the end of the world. We've got Helsingborgs next, newly promoted from the second tier, as are Östers as well, Halmstads as well, again, that hopefully we can win. Harken, who seem to have started well, and Djurgården's the new champions in our first 5 games. So, first 6 games, rather. We've got yeah, 3 of the sides that were around us last season in our opening 6. So it's a tough start to the league. So the board disappointed in that performance because we just didn't create enough chances. That front 4 really didn't see a lot of action. The supporters, an F, very disappointed. Losing to a rival, lots of negatives. Just didn't play well enough, conceding the late goal, not creating enough, not good defensively. Konate didn't do too well, didn't keep the ball. Yeah, just a bad day at the office all around, really. Hopefully things will hopefully go up from there. Hopefully we can start picking up some points. But we'll see you next time. I think we'll jump ahead a fair few games again, try and get through the season as quickly as we can. We're going to go ahead to either Mjällby or Värnamo next time. Harken and Djurgårdens are big games off camera, but I don't want to do a game too soon. So we'll jump ahead to the start of May next episode. It'll be one of Mjällby or Värnamo, whichever one I get to. If I get to Värnamo, I'll do Värnamo. If I don't, I'll do Mjällby. That's going to do it for today's video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like, leave comments, and subscribe if you haven't, or if you're new, turn notifications on. We'll try and get some points on the board in those next sort of 5 or 6 games. Not a great start to the season with that defeat to Malmo. Didn't play especially well, but hopefully we can get some wins under our belt, get some points under our belt, and get some form for these new signings and hope that they do well with the team. We'll see how they do. But that's going to do it for today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.